Okay. We're talking Far From Home here. Been dying to talk about it. I know Max has too.
Yes, I am.
So we'll just jump right into it. You want to start off with like what we rated it out of 5? Did you give it a rating?
I'm going to do that last, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. We can.
I have some things I want to talk about that maybe will sway me either way.
Okay, that
Um,
makes sense.
Because I'm curious as to what you think.
Do you want to go like pros or cons first?
Let's do pros.
Okay. So, my pros, I'll just read them off. So I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was great. I thought
Mhm.
Tom Holland obviously was great,
Yeah.
and I really liked Zendaya.
Oh, yeah.
Special effects was superb. I thought the Mysterio scenes were really really cool, super trippy, and they really like got Mysterio down. Um, I know a lot of people hated this. I'm so sick of hearing that shit. I like the comparisons between Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
So many people wanted them to just like ignore Iron Man in this movie, and I don't understand that because this is the movie following Endgame. Like, people need to understand the Marvel movies are a narrative, and
Mhm.
each movie, whether it's a Spider-Man movie or a Captain America movie, has to continue the Marvel narrative as well as telling the story of Spider-Man or whoever. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so many people are mad that Iron Man was in it, but you can't just ignore that. Like, it makes sense the way they used Iron Man in it, I
Oh,
thought.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
I didn't think they were going to go as far as they did with it.
yeah,
It honestly came across as like he's like the 21st century Jesus Christ. Like I
yeah.
can see how
Which he
it's
kind of
honestly
is. Like, he brought back half the
that's
population.
I
Yeah,
know it's kind of funny to say that, but it's like it's in a way it's kind of true to bring back half of everything.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, this man is going to be praised to that certain extent, and I
yeah,
honestly thought that was actually really cool.
exactly. So I like how they kind of set Peter up as the next Iron Man, the new leader of the Avengers. I thought that was perfect because there are comparisons between the two.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so I just one of my favorite scenes in the movie was when Peter was like building his suit and designing it. You could definitely tell he was like reminding you of Tony, and Happy was just kind of looking at him, and you could tell Happy was singing that too. And I
yeah.
like really really liked that scene. Um,
That was probably my favorite part in the movie.
yeah,
And the
that's what
actual
I was thinking too. Yeah,
my actual favorite part was J. Jonah Jameson, baby.
yeah,
I lost my mind. That was so cool.
yeah. So that was one of the things that got spoiled on Twitter for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which sucked. I was kind of expecting it. Some dude literally just tweeted like J.K. Simmons is in a like it was some release the Snyder cut fucking
Oh,
dude. And he was like just saw home like last week, he's like just saw Homecoming. J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson in the post credit scene. And I was like, dude, are you
God.
fucking serious? Why would you tweet that? So I saw that like last week. Dude, did you get like I noted this down. I got like an Alex Jones vibe from him. Like it looked like InfoWars. His like little
Alex
setup, dude, because he was like
screaming into the mic.
freaking out. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious because like the lighting and everything else literally
Yeah,
looked like InfoWars, and he was just yelling.
yeah.
And
It's
I
pretty
like
funny.
how he's kind of the same J. Jonah Jameson, but kind of like different. Like it looked like he was kind of doing like a podcast type thing.
Yeah,
So I thought that was cool. But yeah,
it was different enough for it to be
yeah,
like, okay, yeah. I'm
yeah,
glad they did it because
yeah. Me
it's one of those
too.
things. It's like that's just one you can't replace because he's
Hmm.
so perfect for that role.
For sure.
Um, so you want me to switch gears to me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I would say, yeah, the strongest parts of the movie were the Iron Man and Peter Parker parallels.
Hmm.
That scene when they're in the helicarrier, not the helicarrier, the Quinjet, and you see like Peter Parker acting exactly as Tony
Yeah,
Stark
that was
when he's
great.
building the suit. That was it was touching, and I think that's what was
Hmm.
so great about it. Because look, I think at this point, we've come to the point where this is our third reiteration of Spider-Man. You know, we've seen the Uncle Ben story
Hmm.
2 times now. It's like,
Yeah.
what else is there to learn? And I think it's as brilliant as it can get to have kind of Tony Stark fill in that role.
Yeah.
And it mean the same thing to the main, and it still mean the same thing to Peter. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like he feels differently about it, or it's the same sort of loss. And that's
Hmm.
the whole point of Peter Parker is he goes through all this troubles.
Exactly. Yeah. That's another thing I just want to talk about is like the complaint that like people are like, this isn't Spider-Man and all that. Like Spider-Man's been around for 60 years. Like there's so many different iterations of the story. Like they can kind of do whatever they want, you know? I don't want to see a regular Mary Jane Watson and Uncle Ben story again and like old Aunt May. Like I respect them for doing something different. People literally just want a continuation of the Tobey Maguire movies, and like that's just not going to happen because it's like different. So
yeah, it all means the same thing to him. It's just
Mhm.
different ways of doing it, and
Exactly. Yeah.
it's all filling in the right holes and stuff.
Hmm.
However, I could be totally wrong, and I thought I maybe saw this, but like I said, I could be totally wrong.
Hmm.
When he's packing his suitcase, I see initials on the suitcase. Did it
Yeah.
say BFP or did it say PFP?
BFP. So that was like a little nod to Uncle Ben.
So that was Uncle
Yeah.
Ben.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. So it's like he exists.
Yeah.
Then it's like, what are people complaining about?
Well,
It's just the other thing that, if anything, it's more tragic because he's not only lost Uncle Ben, now he's lost another father.
Yeah, exactly. And like so many people were like, just another one. Like, I can't believe they didn't include Uncle Ben. Like, did they want like flashbacks? Like, did they want, I don't understand. Like, we know the story, we know what happened. Like, it's just like, I'm looking forward to a new Spider-Man story, like one that we haven't seen before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, the same exact beginning to Spider-Man is the same exact beginning to the Amazing Spider-Man, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just like we've seen it. But yeah, that's just how I feel about that. I think it's annoying because I think that's kind of like a cop out, complaint about the movie. Like it's just like, I mean, like it'll be different. Like we were talking about, like the Dark Knight trilogy is a very different iteration of Batman. But like, it's still a cool Batman. It's still a good series. Like, just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, and I think it would come across as lazy if they just went through the blueprints that had been laid before them.
Yeah.
In previous movies, you know. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
doing something different. You know, nobody likes to do anything different when it comes to the comics and stuff, which I'll kind of get into in a little bit too when we talk Mysterio, because I have a lot to talk about there.
Yeah.
When it comes to doing something different, they usually just want what's kind of been done like in the comics. They like it straight, just exactly the same as that. But like I said, I'll say it again. It's like all of the stuff that's different is the same meaning to Peter Parker. So I think that's why it's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I agree.
I do want to talk about Mysterio.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about it. Jake Gyllenhaal was good in the second half of the movie to me, and I don't think it's his fault. It's something these movies do that kind of drives me insane when they do like a switcheroo on you. And we all saw this comment because obviously Mysterio's a bad guy. We all know that. But it's like they do it where he's like plays it super cool, and then all of a sudden he's like this super like zany diva in a way sense.
Yeah,
it's
it was weird. Like the Riddler. He was like the Riddler is what I kept thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, he kept it way like honestly, I'm not gonna lie. The first few lines he had was like super deadpan and collected, and I was like, oh no. Is he not like not wanting to be here? But then he obviously it shows later on that okay, now I see why he probably took on the role because it got super interesting. And it gave me Iron Man 3 vibes in a way. But here's why I think it's okay. Iron Man 3, what happened to Iron Man 3 was actually there's a lot of kind of Iron Man 3 parallels in this. Regarding the villain, you know, in Iron Man 3 when the Mandarin came out of taking a shit and was like, oh, I'm not the Mandarin, I'm just some guy.
Yeah.
What you get in replace of the Mandarin is kind of like nothing. You get, oh, I'm Guy Pearce, but with powers. And it's like, oh, this is lame. But here's why I think it's okay in this. It's like, okay, you get Mysterio, a con man who conned the audience, including me, because I didn't really see that he was going to go be like a former Stark employee. And they kind of do what they did with Endgame, where they tied him back with all the previous movies, Civil War and the first Iron Man. It's amazing how the MCU can make a small character, such as the guy in Iron Man 1, be so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, that's so cool. It's the same guy.
You know, that's the guy that plays Ralphie in Christmas Story.
Are you kidding me?
No, yeah, that's him, like, all grown up. He's in, like, all of Jon Favreau's movies.
That's pretty awesome. He'll be
Yeah.
in The Lion King then.
Yeah. Yeah, probably will.
Yeah. While he's not like, obviously, I mean, I'm kind of pulling this out of my ass here because I'm not super familiar with Mysterio's character. I don't think he's ever been a Stark employee.
No, he's usually a special effects coordinator in, like, Hollywood or, like, on movies.
Really? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, this is why I didn't want to rate it yet, because it's like,
Yeah.
I'm learning. Okay. That's pretty cool. That makes much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
The Mysterio you get it really well. And then we talk about the sequences where he's like in Parker's head and he's doing all the illusion stuff. That, honestly, that was probably my favorite part of the movie. Along with the dialogue and stuff. Those scenes were knockout perfection for that character. I mean, so cool. And it was, oh man, that scene where it shows Anthony Edward Stark and it says, maybe you weren't good enough. Oh, dude.
Yeah, and then he reaches out. Yeah.
That broke me. That was so sad. But that kind of stuff, it's like you get Mysterio in a way, but in Iron Man 3, you never really get the Mandarin. It's like, oh, he's not the Mandarin. Okay, well then who am I supposed to be afraid of?
Yeah.
Where's my Mandarin? But you get Mysterio after he's not the Mysterio that's kind of straight up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm torn because Jake Gyllenhaal's so good, but I don't know. I like Vulture better than Mysterio. I think Vulture is the more interesting, complex villain, which is so tough for me because I like Jake Gyllenhaal so much. But I just besides those couple scenes, I feel like Mysterio is kind of like forgettable, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. He got very predictable. That was my main complaint is I thought the story was just a little bland and it was just kind of predictable. Like, until the post-credits scene, everything I saw, like, I kind of expected or, like, could have guessed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of my biggest complaint. And then I said, like, the sub-villains, there weren't really any sub-villains there because those usually are what, like, make a Marvel movie great. I guess you could say the Elementals are. But like Mysterio's team could kind of be sub-villains, but like they didn't get any like dialogue or like action or anything. So
well, those drones, here's my hugest problem. Well, before we get into that, I would say, I think Homecoming in general is just a better movie.
That's what I wrote down.
I agree with you there. I think the Vulture is a better villain.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that Homecoming is a lot more tamed and this one's so like, this one is so sequel where it's like it gets bigger and scale.
Homecoming just feels like a Spider-Man movie. Like if you love Spider-Man, like Homecoming's so Spider-Man, and Far From Home just like, I don't know, it was kind of like Peter Parker, but like, I don't know. I don't really, I want to see it again because there's so much I don't know how I feel about it. You know what I mean?
Agree. Yeah, no, and I tend to do those with these like big movies because I really don't know how I feel about it. It's always like your expectations versus what you get.
Mm-hmm.
The drones, that's probably my biggest issue with this movie. And I don't know if I like it or not. Because it's like, in retrospect, it's like, well, look, there's so many of those drones. How the hell was there not, like, I know there was the one occurrence where literally just only one of those drones, like, gets destroyed. You're going to tell me no more than, there should be drones everywhere with the fire elemental one.
Because they're like fighting and like, I don't know.
Projecting the images on the inside.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how come when Spider-Man's throwing stuff at it, none of these drones are getting destroyed?
Was it just me too, or did it seem a little far-fetched? Like Mysterio's whole master plan was like, I'm going to get those glasses from like Peter Parker. And like,
how did he even know about those until...
Yeah, I don't know. That was because he said like the lady on his team gave him the intel that Peter had them, but like Nick Fury had them and then gave them to Peter. So I just kind of thought that was, I don't know, that kind of felt loose to me. I also like really didn't like the scene that was just all plot filler of Mysterio like giving this big speech. I thought that was really cheesy and like weird.
Oh my God! Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
That was terrible. I even
Yeah.
turned to Nolan. I said, "This is the longest scene I've ever seen in a movie ever," because
It
it's literally
was
just
of just
him
like
talking.
filler.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just him just explaining everything that catch up
Yeah.
to.
He's like
Oh, and
going
this is
through
what I
each
forgot about.
character
Yeah,
explaining what they
seriously.
did. And I'm
I know.
like,
I was like, "Oh
wait,
my
he's
god, how
just
many
sitting here
people are they gonna?"
explaining?
Yeah, and you never
Yeah.
see them again. I can understand
Yeah.
maybe the first two or whatever. The one who's just got the cape and stuff, and the other one who's
Hmm.
actually behind the projector. So it's like he introduced like 2, 3 more. It's like, who gives a fuck who these people are? Oh, that
Yeah.
scene was really bad. I will say
I
that. That
I
scene was
think
really
I kind of just thinking about it, I think there was too many characters in this because like there were just so many back and forth, like May, Happy. There was a lot of Nick Fury, um, Maria Hill, Mysterio, his whole team. There were just a lot of characters in it
yeah,
for a Spider-Man movie, which I feel like Spider-Man movies are usually very like Spider-Man and the villain, and then Spider-Man's like family.
yeah.
And yeah,
One thing I think could have been cut out character wise was the Brad storyline. That
yeah, that was just
didn't like that. And then
dumb. Yeah.
they could have cut out that whole third love triangle thing,
Hmm.
and they could have cut out when the, and I guess it's to kind of set up that what Edith is capable of when the drone comes down to kill Brad. That
Yeah.
could have been cut out.
Well, that was just like the whole suit thing in Homecoming when he
Yeah.
like activates the kill mode and is like freaking out. Like that seemed very repetitive to me. Um, I was really excited for JB Smoove in it because like I love him in Curb Your Enthusiasm as
Yeah,
Leon.
he's good,
And he only got a couple lines of dialogue.
and they weren't funny.
No, they weren't. And the guy that plays the other teacher,
Martin Starr,
Martin Starr, yeah.
he was great.
He was good. His line about like he's like my wife disappeared, but I just feel like why were there two teachers? Like just have him and give him
Yeah,
funny lines, or
one
just
or
have
the other.
JB Smoove.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just felt like there was so much. Like maybe they could have done the little like love triangle thing, but without the Ned and Betty Brant thing. Like I just felt like there was a
That didn't
lot of
bother me that much.
storylines.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny, but
It was
it just
funny.
like they should have taken out the Brad thing.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. So I said one of my complaints is like I feel like it should be less jokey. Like I understand Spider-Man's funny, but there was a joke every single like scene, every single dialogue. It seemed like there was just a ton of little jokes, whereas like in game and obviously like everything else was like a little more serious. So it just felt a little too jokey to me. Homecoming like even had those serious scenes with like Peter crying at the end where he's like, you know, trapped in the rubble, like the scene with
That scene
Michael
was
Keaton in the
heartbreaking.
car.
Yeah,
I felt like there was really none of those like super serious scenes in Far From Home because like they would kind of start getting there and then like Peter would tell a joke or like Mysterio would be joking around or yeah, I don't know. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean though?
yeah. No, I know what you mean, but I would say that there is, and it's that scene where they're on the jet, where it's just Happy
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Peter, and they're
Yeah.
just talking about. That's as close as it
Okay,
gets.
that yeah.
There were a couple times in this movie where I was getting kind of misty eyed, and I think it was only because, and I don't think it was because of the movie itself. It was more of like thinking
The
back to Endgame and
overarching
what happened.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Mhm.
that what happened. That was kind of getting to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the fact that Homecoming was more about Spider-Man, and this one's more about what Spider-Man's going to mean to the universe, like
Yeah.
to the
Like
future. And
his
this,
legacy, yeah.
yeah, and this movie, I really thought that they were going to set up from what okay, and I wrote down as a point, internet stop overhyping things because it,
True.
this
I
whole
was
Dan
literally thinking that
RPK,
last night. Yeah.
they 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 didn't set up really anything for the future of the MCU except for just Spider-Man himself, which I'm glad they did
Mhm.
because I don't really want to think about the future right now after we kind of just witnessed the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give me a break for all that, which I'm glad they did. They did do that. But yeah, the internet and all these like people who get all these sources and blah blah blah
Mhm.
going, "Oh my god, you're not going to believe this is my favorite and it's my anticipated because it sets up the
Yeah.
future." It doesn't really. it sets up an interesting thing for Spider-Man really only. Not so
Mhm.
much like I was expecting with the way they were making it sound that they were going to set up like a villain that was going to be,
I thought there was going to be like a
incredible.
secretive person or
Yeah, and there's
yeah.
not. There
Well, we
really
did that
wasn't.
segment, our last episode, being like, what do you think's going to happen? And apparently the big surprise that people were saying that like they were all alluding to was Mysterio dying, which like I kind of saw that coming because I'm like, Jake Gyllenhaal's not going to sign on for more than one movie. So like I thought that was so dumb. That's what everyone said the big surprise was, like before the post-credits scene. I'm like, well, that's stupid. Also, yeah, with the whole overhyping thing, so they're like, obviously they're like, oh, you're never going to like see any of it coming. So I go into it so like excited.
Yeah.
And so like, oh my God, like, are they going to introduce Norman Osborn? Is the Sinister Six going to be in it? Are they going to allude to Fantastic Four? And then you kind of just get like Mysterio dies, and then that's the end of the movie. And
I never in a million years would have thought that was the thing. I swear, Luke, I was literally waiting for the camera to pan up to Oscorp Tower. I was like, okay,
yeah.
it's gonna happen.
I just kept thinking there's gonna be something else. There's got to be, which is why I kind of wish the J. Jonah Jameson part was in the movie, just because that would have been more of like a kicker at the end. Like I understand it's in the movie with the mid-credits scene, but it would have kind of fulfilled Mysterio a little bit more. The more I think about it, is it possible? Like I think I like the Mysterio scenes, but don't really like Mysterio as a villain because he just. I don't know. He had the drones. Like he wasn't really like a powerful villain. He wasn't really smart. He had like this team that was basically his backbone and these drones that were like his defense. Like Mysterio really wasn't like anything. Like Quentin Beck was just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it should have been more focused on maybe a couple of drones they needed more of the illusion stuff with Spider-Man and Mysterio because that was where it was the strongest. It easily could have been a psychological kind of ending to the movie between Mysterio and Spider-Man, but they decided to make it super boring and just have Spider-Man fight drones, and that's fine if they would have done more of Spider-Man thinking on the spot to beat these drones. And I liked how you see Spider-Man, he's like, okay, I'm out of web shooters now. What am I?
It grabs like the shield.
It's him on the spot thinking like, okay, what am I going to do? But to watch him just swing around and just punch a mindless drone.
That's what if instead of drones they would have used like Iron Man suits like as Mysterio's defenses to like mean more to Peter, like Peter fighting like Iron Man suits. That'd be kind of weird.
I don't know if I would have liked that because then it would have been like the ending of Iron Man 3. Like when
that's true.
I would have liked that.
I'm with you. I don't like kind of the mindless, faceless villain of like the drones.
Yeah. And I think that's why Vulture is a better villain because it's like you really feel like he feels tied. He actually feels tied to Vulture.
Yeah.
As like MJ's dad.
Well, and that was my other thing is like good villains are people you can relate to and feel like bad for. And Vulture, you kind of got like he's doing it for his family. Like he was kind of fucked over by Tony Stark. Mysterio just was like, I don't know. You really never got his motive. He just like didn't like Tony because Tony fired him. But like that's why he wanted to like destroy the world and become an Avenger. Like that just didn't really. You know what I mean? You didn't really resonate with him at all.
Yeah.
And then one of my complaints is just like, I was so excited to see Jake Gyllenhaal in a superhero movie. And like, I think anyone really could have done this role. Like Jake Gyllenhaal didn't need to do this role. I would have liked to see him as like, like Adam or like, anyone else upcoming. Just because I feel like really anyone could have played this Mysterio role. There wasn't a lot to it. It didn't seem like.
Yeah. I wonder. It must have been because the fact that like everything is so twisty in this movie. It's like, turns out Nick Fury and what's her name?
Marie Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
That there's scrolls.
I want to talk about that too at some point. Yeah.
That was so unnecessary, but whatever.
That's what I thought because I was just like to go off topic a little bit. like some of the stuff he said, I'm like, how would a scroll know how like Nick Fury would act, or like, and all that was another one of the things is like the mid credit scene is crazy, but the post credit scene will blow your mind. And I was just kind of
No.
watching it, and I was like,
Yeah, that's what I was
I
waiting for.
mean, okay, like,
Well, that's what Nolan was telling me, and I was like, I'm pretty sure the last credit scene now are like they're always goofs now. They're like always silly.
and that's what I'm trying to. I was watching it, and I'm like, are they just trying to be funny, or is this some sort of like hidden message that Nick Fury's like? But it looks like he's literally just in space, like
With
chilling.
scrolls, why would he be?
Yeah,
I wonder why he would be doing that.
that's what I didn't understand. Like, was he really just like hanging out? Like, I don't like, had he been there since he like snapped back, or I don't know. It was just so weird. Um, I guess it works as a gag, but if they're trying to make it like an integral part of the story, like if they're trying to let set up for a Captain Marvel sequel or a
Yeah.
Guardians type thing, I don't know. It just seemed very like weird because like it kind of ruins seeing it again when you like the funny stuff about Nick Fury is like, wait, so this is a scroll saying
Yeah.
this?
And
Like,
what's is that character's name? Talos? Is that what he's called?
yeah, something like that.
Why is he on Earth? What is he doing that for?
Yeah, like is Nick like
What was the
holding his
point?
kids
Yeah,
hostage?
yeah,
Like
seriously.
why has he been acting as Nick
Yeah.
Fury for the past few weeks?
What's the point? Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess it's more of that, like, hey, Captain Marvel, yeah, Captain Marvel's here.
Yeah, I think it's just trying to like connect it. Because it did
Yeah,
make me
yes.
laugh, like the thing where he's like,
It
I
was
have no
funny.
idea how to get a hold of the Avengers. Like I was laughing
Yeah.
at that. But then like the Fury part when he like hangs up his phone and is just walking around the spaceship, I'm like,
It's like,
what? That's weird.
what is going on?
Yeah. So that
Um,
that was kind of weird for me. I don't know.
yeah. Um, yeah, I thought that was kind of like, it was funny, but it was like one of those things like, why? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it just
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about, I don't know how I feel about this. Um, but it's another Iron Man 3 parallel that I kind of wanted to talk about. So now the whole world knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's 29. Well, now it would have been what 2023 or 2024,
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah.
there's no way no one's gonna look at it and go, "That's clearly fake." That video. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, everybody's so like concerned about like what videos are real or fake. There's got to be. You don't see his
Yeah.
mouth or anything. You just see his feet. You're gonna say, "Oh, that must be real."
Yeah.
But it kind of reminded me of how like in Iron Man 3 when Tony Stark gives up his address to
The Mandarin.
the Mandarin, and the
Mhm.
Mandarin comes and just fucks up his house. I don't
Yeah.
know if it will. I don't know if that is what it'll come down to. I'm more concerned about how the people in his high school are going to react now, because it's like um on a global scale, I don't think it would come down to where it's like people are going to go try and beat the shit out of Peter Parker. I was like,
Yeah.
why? He's like a hero to all you people. Why would you hate him or something like that? It's like, who
Mhm.
cares? Who knows? Everybody knows that Tony Stark is Iron Man, and nothing really happened to him until literally he gave away his exact location.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about how it's going to affect his like high schooling and stuff, which is I think would be the most ideal for them to tackle. I hope, because it's like that would be more quintessential Spider-Man than it is
Mhm.
like, oh, the whole world knows. And
Well, that's the thing that I was thinking of. Like Spider-Man's rogues gallery right now isn't big enough for you to be like, oh, is someone gonna go like kill Aunt May? Because
him up. Yeah.
Spider-Man doesn't have money. Like he's just
Yeah.
like a kid. Like what are you gonna do? Like steal a suit? Like that's what I don't get. So like I guess yeah, it could be dangerous to like Peter's like personal life, but like
Yeah.
the Vulture's in prison and the Vulture already knew he was Peter Parker. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have that many
That secret could
enemies,
have gotten out
basically.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then that, yeah, like you said, that was my other question is like, are people going to question it? Are people going to wonder if it's real, or are people just going to be like, oh, Spider-Man murdered thousands of people? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder how people are going to perceive it, because to
Mm-hmm.
me, it was like, well, it would be easy to be like, well, that video could easily be faked.
Yeah.
But then again, but I feel like, the Shield would be like, hey, no, Mysterio was actually like a bad guy. This guy like
yeah.
tried
Like they
kill
have to have
everybody.
proof of
It's not
like,
like, yeah, exactly. It's not like anybody would be like, oh no, Spider-Man, we'll leave him on his own. Screw that. It's like, come on.
So the thing I didn't like about that is it's just like it leaves a massive cliffhanger with what was supposed to end the phase. You know what I mean? It's like a huge cliffhanger that I don't know if it's going to be in the next. Fuck, I don't know, because we're not getting an Avengers movie for a while. Like, is it going to be alluded to in like a Captain Marvel or Doctor Strange movie, or are we going to have to wait like 3 years for the next Spider-Man? Or
yeah, well, it was more of a cliffhanger, I think, for just the character of Spider-Man, not really like a cliffhanger that would include the whole MCU.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I would think, but I really don't know. And the thing, I'm kind of torn on it because it's like Spider-Man's thing is always like, I gotta keep my secret, But now like that it's out, I don't know. It's like it kind of takes away the excitement of it all because it's like half the fun of like this movie was like him trying to dodge, people finding out what he's up to. Like when he's like in the room and she's like asking him to change, and then Brad walks in and he's like, I can explain. That's kind of half the fun.
Funny. Yeah,
like they catch him in like either catching him in the act when he's got to explain or be like, hey, where's Peter at? Why is he always disappearing?
Well, it kind of like, is it just me or does it kind of ruin like the reveal to MJ that he's Peter by like the whole world finding out shortly after? Like, I wish they would have just told her at the end of the first one. Yeah.
That would be, I think, more exciting.
Yeah, if he was like swinging around with her and like let her down, and then it's like Peter Parker, Spider-Man, she like looks up at him and it's just like, oh shit. That would have been cool.
Yeah, actually, not bring it up. Damn, they should have done that.
Yeah, they should have. Because what was that reveal for?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot in it, a lot to talk about, but like, I don't know. I guess it sets up for a cool third Spider-Man, but they didn't really set any villain up. I don't know. I really wish they would have set up the Sinister Six or brought back the Vulture a little bit or set up Oscorp or something.
I really wish they did that.
Yeah. Did you see that people are thinking they're like, there's a Fantastic Four cameo. They think it's a cameo that like Fury's Code Ward had Surfboard in it. And they think it's like a Silver Surfer Easter egg. And I was like, what? Like, maybe, but like, is that even worth talking about? Like,
I don't know. That's people just stretching.
That's what I'm saying.
Stretching.
So, yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like there was a lot to it. Like, there's a lot that happens in the movie, but there's not a lot that like, besides everyone finding out that Peter's Spider-Man, there's not a lot of like lasting effects.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm completely convinced on how I feel about this movie yet. I'm just kind of going to base it off this. I gave the Ant-Man and the Wasp a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is better than that. And I gave Captain Marvel a 4.
I gave this a 3.7 out of 5. So sounds like we're about.
Well, if you round that up, it's a 4. So that's what I'll go with. I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, and I would give Homecoming like a 4.1 or 4.2. Like I really liked Homecoming.
4.5. I really liked Homecoming.
Yeah.
Like I loved Homecoming.
Yeah.
Homecoming is better for me.
And I could watch Homecoming a lot, and I don't know if I'm even excited to go see this again for the actual movie. Whereas I'm just excited to see, how I feel about things again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I'd give it a 3.7 out of 5, which is like a 7.4 out of 10. Because I like 7.5 and above, I think is like a pretty good movie, and I would just say this is like good or above average.
It was good. I thought it was consistently funny. I enjoyed being there watching it. I enjoyed the whole thing. It never really dragged or anything for me.
Yeah,
it was a really good time. There's just a couple of things that were questionable.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say my top 3 Spider-Man movies are still just Spider-Verse, Homecoming, and Spider-Man 2, probably.
Yeah, no, I agree. Those are probably the top 3 best. Definitely.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 being my favorite still.
Yeah. All right, but we'll call it a wrap.
Yep.